Hello, dear astrology family. Sad Sangat is back with the Capricorn new moon, December the 30th, 2024, at 9 degrees 43 minutes. And first of all, this will happen at 4:26 p.m. So on December the 30th. But before I start with that, I would like to give you a couple of words about Chiron stationary direct, which is happening Sunday, the 29th of December, and that's happening at 3:12 p.m. and is exactly at 19 degrees. And why you think I will do this is because there is something curious about the 19th degrees of Aries. Um, and Chiron happens to be stationary direct. Uh, and is the same place where it was stationary retrograde a while ago, more than a year ago. So, and Chiron has been at 19 degrees of Aries for over 8 months. So I think it's quite highlight of this degree for several reasons. So it started, it entered the 19th degree on June 6, 2023, and it went on the 19th degree up until September the 10th, 2023, and is stationed retrograde at 19 degree um, on July the 24th, 2023. And it went retrograde until September the 10th. And then it was also direct from April 1st to April 18th, 2024. And then it went retrograde again, 18th of November, 2024 to today, 29th of December, 2024. And it will be direct always on the 19th degree until February 15, 2025. So a total of over 8 months on that degree. And if you remember correctly, it was also conjunct the solar eclipse on April the 8th, 2024. And another curiosity is that when the nodes of the moon enter the axis of Aries Libra, Chiron was at 19 degrees. And at the moment when the nodes will leave Aries, Chiron will be still at 19 degrees. So I think it will be worth reviewing what this means. And for that, I got curious and I went to the Sabian symbol that Dane Rudier left us with. And it says, of course, 19th degree is rounded to in fact, is the 20th degrees. So the Sabian symbol for the 20th of Aries says a young girl feeding birds in winter. And the keynote is transmuting life into love. And what he says, in other words, is that in times of hardship, like winter, it's a difficult time because it's cold, because it has so many difficulties to overcome, right? Keeping warm, having enough food, etc. So times of hardship We can go through by compassion, by empathy, by sympathy with other people, and being of service as well. And I think that this is one of the issues that we are going through at this moment, since Chiron in Aries is our this feeling that we have that we are so vulnerable. Our life on Earth is vulnerable. Not only the human life, but the life in general is so vulnerable in these days, and especially more so since 2018 when Chiron ingressed Aries. I have another video that I did for a presentation for OPA that talks about my ideas about Chiron in Aries. So here we are with Chiron and Aries. We are at a moment when we realize how vulnerable our life is on Earth, and how insufficient we are, how fragile life is in general. And with the, let's say, the support of other transits on the chart, we have seen so much death, right? So much um, uh, elimination of life, I would say, for several different means, some natural, some human provoked, conflicts, wars, and all kinds of selfishness, right? Aries, it represents this condition of me, and me, and me, and first myself, and then myself, and etc. Right? So this fight for our own well-being, for our own survival, and disregarding what others, Libra, right, may need. So I think this symbol help us to focus um, our perspective on a more spiritual approach to this problem, this hardship, if you like, this winter of life that we are going through, and becoming, as I said, a more compassionate, willing to serve those in need, and having a spiritual perspective on the situation. In that case, being of service to those in need, etc. So, having said that, then we go to the new moon in Capricorn, and we find out that again the moon is out of bounds, and is at 28 degrees of declination, so it's pretty high. And here we have the scale of this, and we see in this scale, we see here is the ecliptic, and the moon is pretty high. So another one that is also out of bounds, but not so much as the moon, is Ceres. So Ceres represents our need for comfort, for nutrition, for nurturance, and protection. And together with Pluto, we saw Ceres 4 years ago when Pluto and Saturn were conjunct with the Sun and Mercury and Ceres, also at the same degree, 22 degrees. And I think it represented very well the need for caring for people, and in that case was Capricorn, the government caring for people. In this case, we have a Ceres in Aquarius, which represents society, represents the need for society to be collectively protective of those in need, those who are having hardship or difficulties for any reason. And we see a lot of need given the armed conflicts, given the natural disasters, the hurricanes, the floodings, the droughts, and all those things that are creating masses of people to be displaced and migrants for the millions going to different places where it's so difficult to be contained, right? Because obviously countries and people have resources to share, but the scale of the disaster is so big that is going to be a very difficult challenge to face in the years to come. But before the moon makes the marriage with the sun, she enters Aquarius and squares her nodes. And this is a crucial moment because every time the moon makes this point, is in astrology is called a wobble, is called a point of oscillation, is called the bend as well. So whatever you call it, it's a point where there is a lot of instability. And what is the explanation? Is because here the moon is squaring all the eclipses that happened in this Aries Libra axis. And as she travels the sign of Capricorn, she will be squaring the nodes that happened at 5 degrees in March 25th, 2024, then 10 degrees of Libra, October 2nd, 2024. Then right at the moment of the new moon, now December the 30th, is squaring the next eclipse that will happen March 29, 2025 at about 9 degrees as well. So and there are other eclipses, for example, the one at 29 that opened this season in Aries Libra, 29 degrees of Aries and 21 degrees of Libra, 19 degrees of Aries. So the moon in transiting Capricorn every month is squaring all these eclipses. And that is why twice a month in Capricorn and Cancer, she is in this situation where there is instability, there is tragedies often. So it's not discounted that right before the new moon, we will have something difficult in the news or around us. And then, as I said, it has the theme of this new moon has to do something with the eclipse, the last eclipse that will happen in March in the sign of Aries. So also this is the band that goes north. The moon is going north to the north node, and so we are in the direction of the urge that we have, this urge for individualism, for initiative, for assertiveness. And of course, the North Node in Aries also has exacerbated the conflicts because of selfishness, simple and clearly. Selfishness, too much concentration on what we want, what is good for me, and this regarding Libra, which is the compromise, to be able to agree with other people, to be at peace and harmony. No, this North Node has clearly rejected that possibility of harmony, of compassion. We have seen this in the polarity that has been on the in play all over the world, in fact, and more specifically in the United States political arena. So we've seen this North Node pretty aggressive, I would say. And with that, of course, Chiron is representing all the wounds that this soldier-like attitude has taken us into, because of course when you play with fire you are burned, yeah, right? So oftentimes so this new moon will start something in the house that you have in your personal chart occupied by Capricorn. So if it is your first house, it will be something about you, your body, the way you present yourself. And the ruler is Saturn, and Saturn is sextile. It's a wide orb, 5 degrees, but meaning that there is a factor of collaboration from the ruler. However, if you consider the position and the situation of this Saturn, it is super uncomfortable, is in the sign of Neptune and Jupiter. So it's a sign of expansion, of lack of boundaries, of lack of restraint. It's a sign that explores the cosmos, that is compassionate and is all giving, and is all fluffy, right? Now it's in the decan of Cancer, meaning that all this emotionality is around the family, or whatever we consider that is giving us shelter, protection, comfort, and nurturance. So this Saturn is actually, well, and also in a mutable sign. So this Saturn has, Saturn represents rules, right? Today we have one rule, but we can bend it. Tomorrow may be another rule that is different. Obstacles as well. The obstacles may shift and change and take different shapes and ways. So this Saturn is a fluffy Saturn. So it's in fact it's not very good support for this moon, this new moon, and so we may expect delays that have no due date. So, and another factor is that both Mercury and Jupiter are in square to Saturn. So here we have this this Saturn is trying to restrain the mind, restrain the expression, restrain the search for the truth, the search for justice. Jupiter, they are both in uncomfortable houses, Mercury and Jupiter, although they are corresponding each other, meaning that they have a mutual reception, is said in astrology. But what it means is that Mercury is in the house of Jupiter. So and Jupiter in the house of Mercury. So they are checking out each other. So they are working for each other's ends. So and they're squaring Saturn. So meaning this Saturn is not in a very good position. Mercury has already passed the exactitude of the square. It's 4 degrees out, but it's still within considerable orb that we can say is still square. So this Saturn is not too strong for this new moon. So another super important factor is that the moon is out of bounds, and here that's why I put the declination here because we have the moon at 28 degrees, and not only that, we also have a series that is out of bounds. And Mars starts out of bounds as well. And let me tell you the date. I think is the day after 31st. But let me make sure. In fact, Mars will be out of bounds for months. Yeah, Mars will be out of bounds end of the 30. So here, let me see where Mars is. Mars is at 23:25 minutes at the moment of this new moon. But later on in the evening night, it will be out of bound already. So on the 31st, it will start out of bound until April the 7th. So almost January, February, March, and some days. So more than 3 months, Mars will be out of bounds. What that means is that is super active on steroids Mars. So if you exercise, make sure that you protect yourself because this could be dangerous to overexert yourself, especially on January the 3rd when Mars will be opposite Pluto, because you will go against the resistance, against the power, and you may hurt yourself. So attentive to that, and attention also to being overly assertive, even overly aggressive, because things may not come out well. It's like being fighting blindly against the wall, right? Because Pluto in Aquarius will be like a wall, no? So Pluto in Aquarius is actually transforming society. And Mars in Leo it represents the action that is protecting, protecting the ego, let's say, the self identity, the it will be, to give you an example, for example, a personality that has a certain reputation in the world, or fame or renown, is very aggressive, trying to put him or herself into a pedestal because in being aggressive, right? Being very and ending up being opposed by the powers of society. So I have an example in mind that I don't want to mention, but you may imagine someone who is extra multimillionaire and is trying to impose aggressively his ideals and well, his political ideas, and not only the United States, but all over the world. So he might encounter some opposition, some wall. Anyways, So this could be a dangerous day on the 3rd, especially. But since the new moon already, you see Mars at 2 degrees, Pluto 1 degree, so it's practically already opposition. So make sure that you protect yourself, especially the back, right? Leo rules the back, the spine, and also the heart. So make sure that you don't overexert your heart, because it could be problematic. And the moon also in Capricorn, out of bounds, could mean that corporations, government institutions, and governmental officials, bureaucracy could be out of hand. There could be extra emotional. However, of course, on the day of the new moon, we don't see anything, because the moon is completely overwhelmed by the sun rays. But this will progressively, as the days go by, it will appear. As the moon will appear in the sky, we will see what is this new moon about. So what else can I tell you about the moon? In fact, it is a sesquiquadrate Uranus, which may delay things, and especially something that is shocking or surprising could come at a later time, for example. Um, Let me see. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is how the cycle of this moon will progress. And here you have the, oh, no, this is very important, because this is the declination on this side. In this triangle, we have declinations. And you will see how powerful the conjunctions and the oppositions will be, because they will be doubled by the parallel and contra-parallel. So when the declination of planets are in the same plane or the same degree, is called parallel. And when they are opposite hemispheres, north or south, it's called contra-parallel. So here the sun, of course, is conjunct the moon, but it's also contra-parallel Mars. And if you remember, Mars is in Leo, ruled by the sun. So this is similar to being conjunct. And some astrologers affirm that parallel and contra-parallel actually are more powerful than conjunctions and oppositions. So we need to pay attention actually to the parallels and contra-parallels. The sun is also parallel to Pluto. It's like being in conjunction. And in fact, they are considered even parallel and contra-parallel are considered almost the same as conjunctions. So we need to see that this sun is considered like conjunct Mars, conjunct Pluto. So it is a very, very powerful sun. If you think about sun in Capricorn, is someone in authority, someone like a head of a state, or someone with a very high position, right? And very high power as well, considering the parallel and contra-parallel with Mars and Pluto. And then we have Mercury, contra-parallel Jupiter, which emphasizes their opposition. And then we have Mars, contra-parallel Pluto, which highlights their opposition as well. And what else? Saturn is contraparallel Chiron. So this is like having an opposition between Chiron and Saturn. Saturn has this restrictive energy. Well, the other ones are not so significant for our analysis, but now I'm going to show you the waxing square or quarter square because it's happening January the 6th. And in the United States, we have Congress certifying the elections. So there is high expectations all over the country about this date. And if you look at it, again, we have Mars out of bounds, very aggressive in Cancer, and we have Ceres also out of bounds in Aquarius. So here you see on this scale, you see Mars and Ceres out of bounds north. What else? We don't have. Okay, so Mars is north and Ceres is south. I wanted to show you this because the square happens at 16 degrees 55 minutes, and the moon is in Aries, almost conjunct Chiron. In fact, the quarter square happens at 5:56 p.m. Central Time, and the conjunction with Chiron happens at 9:31 p.m. On the same evening. So we have 6 and 3 hours difference. So 3 hours after the first quarter square, the moon conjunct Chiron. And where? 19 degrees. So we have one more emphasis of this Chiron 19 degrees. And now we have Mars also still opposition to Pluto, and we have in Cancer. So from Cancer, Mars retrograde is more defensive, and especially because of the sign of Cancer, it is the sign of fall. And for Mars, and it's also defensive. Defensive of what? Well, everything that we consider home, that we consider comfort, nurturance, a shelter, everything that we consider ours, like our family, our hometown, our home country. So Mars here is in the defensive mode and is ruling this quarter square. So we have here a challenge, and there might be some wounding happening. As I said, in order to overcome the wounding represented by Chiron 19 degrees, we need to take a more spiritual and empathic, compassionate perspective. So also in this, we have Mercury at the end of Sagittarius squaring Neptune. So any news that we, or whatever they tell us, it will be confusing. It will be hard to tell if it is true or not true, or what really happens, or what is really happening. So we won't be clear until Mercury comes to Capricorn, maybe. And still, because Mercury will be in squaring the nodes of the moon, another point of oscillation transited by Mercury. So this will be definitely a moment of revelation, a moment of change of direction in our mind. We will change our minds and become more serious about what we learn, what we know. But for now, Mercury square Neptune, Mercury in Sagittarius, where it's in detriment. I mean, is waxing square day is not very clear day. I would say I would not recommend you to do any documents, any. If you are definitely need to do it, well, you will have to study very diligently, learn and cross the T's, dot all the I's, and make sure that you have all the information and as clear as water, clean water, because this could be tricky. If you can wait a couple of days, that will be better. So for now, we are clear as mud. As I said, Jupiter is still squaring Saturn, and it will be in this dance until the end of April, I think. So we have a few months of this Jupiter-Saturn dance that's still at play. So really, I'm not sure if we have all the truth for a few months, I would say. And then at the end of April, we will have another opposition, Mars-Pluto, that will be probably more intense, more explosive. Fortunately, the outer bounds Mars will be up until 7th of April. So by the time of the next Mars-Pluto opposition, Mars will not be out of bounds. Anyways, and let's study a little bit of the full moon, because the theme will be repeating and will be recreating. And here we have this full moon in Cancer. And here we go again. 23, 59, 24 degrees Capricorn Cancer. And a few hours after this full moon, the moon conjuncts Mars. And let me tell you, the time is the time of the full moon is 4:26 p.m. But the moon conjuncts Mars at 9:47 p.m. So again, 5 hours later, the moon will be hitting Mars, and it's trine Neptune. I mean, it's well, the sun here will be trining Uranus, so there will be surprises, that is for sure. Surprises may be related to banking, economy, the economy of the country. I mean, this new moon is also a new moon in the second house of the United States, which represents the Treasury. I heard this morning in the news that pretty soon the United States will hit the limit, the credit limit, and if there is no measures to cope with that, it will default. So we are, I mean, I am not very, I'm not a specialist in finances, but the way that countries go out of debts and financial problems and treasury problems is with inflation. So that is something that I know historically because I have gone through in my life. So I don't think the United States will be different facing the debt that it has. And we know also, if you have been following my Pluto return for the United States series, you know that the Pluto return was all about the treasury, the economy, the assets of the country, including its own territory. So we'll see how this comes. But all the way since Pluto was transiting, approaching the natal USA Pluto, we have seen these installments of budget, right? Every 2-3 weeks, we need to do another installment of the budget in order to survive the next 2-3 weeks, and we'll go like this for years. We have gone like this for years. So it's not surprising that now they are about to fall into a big crisis. So, and again, I'm not a financial advisor or any near that, but you can consult your own financial advisor, and you will learn what is really going to happen if they know. But astrology is showing clearly that this Mars, for example, at 27 degrees of Cancer, is opposing the Pluto of the United States. So very clearly, these wars, right? There are vicarious are opposing, right, their power, the power of their money. So this full moon may be a big revelation regarding issues of our safety, security, our our need to have a shelter, to protect ourselves. And as I said, Mars is trining Neptune, so this is even more debilitating for Mars. So we will talk more about when I make a video for this full moon, but now you already know the moon is out of bounds in the full moon. Here we see at 25 degrees 49 minutes. Mars is out of bound, 24 degrees 54 longitude, not longitude, latitude, declination. And another one that is out of bounds is Mercury. Mercury is in Capricorn now, and it's out of bounds. I think we will be looking for learning the structures of our life, studying, and I think it will be revelations, right? And pretty soon, in a few days after the full moon, Mercury will sextile Saturn, so helping each other on that quest. So yeah, anyways, that's just a preview for you to consider. If my information helps you, and if you like my videos, please support my channel by subscribing and liking the video, sharing, and also asking questions, making comments. I invite you to visit my blogs at sangadastrology.blogspot.com, where you can find more information about for example, the nodes of the moon that are changing on the 1st of January to the axis Pisces Virgo. I have a complete blog with all the information you may need in that will be very useful for you. And I have another on the small trine that is forming already. It's been forming with Pluto, trine Uranus, and both sextile Neptune, Saturn. So that will be my last blog that I published there. Well, it's not my last; it's the last one that I did. And I invite you to visit my blog then and subscribe as well. So thank you for visiting me, and I wish you a very nice new moon in Capricorn. Have a nice week, and I'll see you with the next lunation. Bye-bye.